Hey, guess what? So I found some of these SpongeBob popsicles. This guy at like a grocery store. I walked by it because I was planning on stealing food because I don't like stealing typically, but what else am I supposed to eat? Bugs, which I definitely haven't yet. Hey, all I'm saying is crickets. Yo, they're actually pretty good. Anyways, this guy at the grocery store, I think he could tell I was homeless. I didn't even say anything, and he just gave them to me. Actually, it was kind of a joke. I didn't even say I was homeless. What did I look that homeless? Now, yes, these are grocery store Spinner Popsicles. I've had, the ones from ice cream trucks, and they sell them like gas stations and convenience stores now. And of course, I've had the Sonic one and stuff like that. I think I even had like a Tweety Bird one before, but let's see. First, real food in a while, and it's ice cream. Or popsicle, I guess. Huh? Is it ice cream? Why does it look like that? See, even the perfect ones already kind of look weird. I get the grocery store, so they're not as, they're not going to be as good as they would otherwise. But let's take a bite. That's pretty good. Although, you know what this reminds me of? It reminds me there are other popsicles, and I have a super great memory. I could probably name like every single one. Let me try going through at least a lot of them. Character popsicles, you know and love them well. Unless it's that stupid Yu-Gi-Oh popsicle. Man, when you look back on all of these popsicles, it's really crazy how many there are. Like, literally every franchise got them. Literally ever. And even for a bit, Street Sharks got a popsicle. Street Sharks. Man, even like Alf had a popsicle. Alf. It wasn't like in America. I think it was only in like Australia, but like Alf. Alf. Alf.
Alf Pogs. Remember Alf? He's back in Pog form.
He already had like the worst game on the Master System. Like, how could you even, like, it's known as the worst game for the Master System. How could you even live after that? Okay, actually, no. Superman is like top 10 most popular characters ever, and we all know what disaster that was. Also, I just found this out that that same developer made a 3D collectathon platformer, also for the N64, for the Blues Brothers 2000 movie. I'm not the only one who didn't know about this, right? Dude, some of the really funny ones are ones like the Dora one and like Chucky Finster of all characters. Like, yeah, Rugrats is popular, but like I feel like Tommy has more of a simple design. So though, I don't know, maybe Chucky's hair kind of sticks out more. I don't know. Anyways, these popsicles, the sticks are from the side because these characters are very like football-shaped heads. Which, speaking of, there was never a Hey Arnold popsicle. I know it's not the biggest show ever, but like Mucha Lucha had a popsicle, and I don't even know what that show is. Apparently it was in the early 2000s and had like 3 seasons, I think. Why did this get a popsicle? I think the oldest main one that's still around today is the Ninja Turtles popsicle. It just changed a bit. I think they changed it for the Rise of the Ninja Turtles show. The Nickelodeon one from like 2018. I think they changed the designs a bit, but they still had the Ninja Turtles IP license for the popsicle. Obviously, we all know about the SpongeBob popsicle and the Sonic popsicle. I've already talked about those pretty extensively, so don't really need to go over them too much, but those two are also ones that, since they came out, have never been taken away, so that's a pretty good honor. I'm surprised, like, they don't keep, like, Pac-Man in the roster of these popsicles. I feel like they had Pac-Man popsicles and also, like, Pac-Man Christmas popsicles. What? But, Pac-Man is a super recognizable design. You don't even have to have, like, an eye or anything. Just have that yellow base shape, like in the original game. Like, people know what Pac-Man looks like. It's to the point where it's like, oh, with your friends, and you take out a slice of the pizza, everyone goes, haha, it's Pac-Man. He's such a recognizable design. Why don't they keep this around? Pac-Man is popular, am I wrong? I know this Spider-Man bar has also been around for a long time, but, like, in its early design, it still had gumballs, which, like, the only point of the gumballs was to make the eyes, like the pupils, pop out more. But, like, Spider-Man with the suit on, he doesn't really have pupils. So it just makes it look stupid. They also surprisingly had a Chip 'n Dale Rescue Ranger Popsicles. These ones are interesting because these ones were also in grocery stores too at the time, apparently. They actually don't look the worst. I think it's kind of funny. They had two different versions where one of them is Chip and one of them is Dale. The only difference is that the nose, like the gumball itself, is a different color. That's just kind of funny to me. The Mario one, though, is weird. This is a character that doesn't really translate super well to a very simplistic design. Mario's always had a decently complicated design, at least compared to someone like, you know, Blue from Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends. Also, I will say, this Popsicle, actually pretty good. It's not the most complicated thing ever, but I'm glad for his eyes. They didn't just use gumballs like his pupils. They actually had like the white part of your eye and then the pupil inside. I don't know. Anyways, the Mario Popsicle is super interesting because for one, it looks terrifying. And also two, for a bit, maybe for actually most of its life, I'm not 100% sure, they had a changing gumball nose. So the whole thing was that the nose was the gumball, not the eyes. And they later had it to where it would change colors, so they had green and like purple and yellow and stuff like that. It was super weird. And you know, when you have it like purple, how could you even tell it's Mario at that point? I mean, I guess you can't really before either. The only thing is like the M on his hat. If you just showed it to somebody with no context who also hasn't played Mario games a super crazy lot, they might recognize it, but like, I don't know, man, it does not look that good. Not all the Popsicles look bad, though. Again, the more simplistic designs work a bit better, like Sonic, it's a pretty good Popsicle. Cosmo, pretty good Popsicle. Very interesting how they didn't go with Timmy, though. Like, you know, with, like, Chucky from the Rugrats. Tommy's obviously probably the main character. But, like, it's not entirely about him. You know, it's to the point, like, in Rugrats in Paris, he barely even plays a role. It's all Chucky's story, you know, although I guess in the first Rugrats movie, Tommy's definitely the main character. But, like, Timmy is 100% the main character of Fairly OddParents. My theory is it's the hat. So Cosmo has a crown, and that must have been easier than, you know, Timmy's hat. I swear, they picked some of the weirdest things making a Popsicles. They made a NASCAR car into a Popsicle. When I first saw this, I legitimately thought it was a joke. I did not believe this was real. No, it is 100% real. There's also a Snoopy Popsicle. Obviously, Snoopy's a very popular character, but I honestly think Charlie Brown would have been a much better Popsicle. You know, he's a much more rounded head. I'm just surprised they didn't go with that. I guess Snoopy is the more popular character, kind of salary. I don't have anything against Snoopy. It's just, like, man, when you watch some of those later specials, they almost entirely focus on Snoopy, which I just could not care about. Like, for example, I think it's the Jurgen Sport Charlie Brown. That's the one where they have, like, the dirt bike race or whatever. Really special, one of my favorites probably. I hate the opening, where it's just Snoopy playing tennis. Yeah, there's some good animation, but, like, it's Snoopy playing tennis, which, weirdly, there are a lot of games made for. Like, specifically, Snoopy tennis. I don't know why that specifically. It's just, the first ever Peanuts game was a Snoopy tennis game. Like, what? I still like the Snoopy Popsicle, though. It's actually pretty good. Captures the design pretty well. You know, good Popsicle all around. I just wish they went with Charlie Brown, and honestly, it would have been better. You know, his head is round. Snoopy's is like a oval, and then like another giant circle at the end. The Jimmy Neutron one, I think, is actually one that is pretty good overall. I'm surprised they did this. You know, I mean, not completely. Jimmy Neutron's a pretty popular series, but, like, he's a 3D model character, like, specifically, you know, and I think they actually captured it pretty well. Like, his hair looks good, his face kind of looks good, the eyes are a bit weird, but Jimmy has pretty complicated eyes, so, you know, but yeah, overall, this Popsicle is actually pretty good. Another one I'm kind of surprised they did, a Danny Phantom Popsicle. It's pretty interesting. Danny Phantom's always been more of a action-heavy, you know, like, series. It also didn't last long, because I'm not saying Danny Phantom wasn't popular. I mean, you know, after all, he was one of the 4 main characters in Nicktoons Unite. But, like, you know, compared to, like, you know, even, like, Cosmo, you know, I just didn't expect him to be on that high of a level, so, cool. Also, the Popsicle, again, doesn't really look bad. It's pretty expressive, and, yeah, it's pretty good overall, I guess. These Popsicles aren't as much of a thing, you know, specifically, like, how many IPs there are, because obviously, like, the SpongeBob Popsicle still lasts, and, like, the Sonic one, too, but, like, I feel like these Popsicles are probably the biggest they've ever been. You know, the Splinter Popsicle has been really popular. They even made like little figures of it. I've always wanted one of these. They're a bit expensive. I mean, I don't know, but they've always looked really cool. But again, we just get stuff like this, and that's really cool. You know, that never happened back in the 2000s. You know, but we pretty much had no IP specifically, and even the Splinter Popsicle is the only actually really big one. You know, there's a few others you can find ice cream trucks like Bugs Bunny, you know, obviously Sonic, like Spider-Man and stuff. But Splinter is the only one that you can actually just go to like a convenience store and find, you know. Garfield has a pretty interesting popsicle history. Apparently, like, the first one ever was this, like, weird one in New Zealand. This looks terrible, man. Like, it doesn't even look like Garfield, almost. I can barely even tell. It's him. If you didn't have the Garfield name, I wouldn't have got it's Garfield. Like, always with the Mario one, you know, you could probably get it's Mario. This I would not have got. Maybe if they made his entire design orange and had that little yellow, like, snout thing, I guess, kind of. You know, I mean, that would have been fine, I guess, but, like, why are there all these random colors? Eventually, they did come out with a more traditional type popsicle with like gumball eyes that actually looks pretty good though. One of the more interesting ones, aside from that freaking NASCAR one, like, well, they had the Warheads mascot as a popsicle. I guess it's not too weird. The Warheads mascot is pretty popular, and you know it's already candy and ice cream's already a sweet, so just having a sour ice cream bar, not the weirdest thing ever. You know, not as weird as a NASCAR car. Like I still don't believe that's real. I think I'm in a simulation, and you know what? I don't mind it. I love all these popsicles, man. Just so much random stuff. There's a Kim Possible popsicle. You know, obviously, again, not now. But it really sucks because something like this, you know, like, oh, it's whatever. If, like, an old game doesn't get put on modern consoles, you know, you could still emulate it, or you could still just buy the original game. In my life, I am never going to get to have an original, you know, NASCAR popsicle. It's just never going to happen. The thing is, too, what kind of sucks is that there's not even much documentation of these. Pretty much everything is just the truck sticker. Maybe you'll get the occasional wrapper, but even a lot of these things don't even have the wrapper. You know, thankfully there are a few screenshots of ones, like the Jimmy Neutron one. Satellite's kind of melting now. Also the Marvin the Martian one, I'm pretty sure these were taken by the same exact guy. But, there's not much documentation, because, you know, again, people, for one, ice cream trucks, okay, so, for one, why would people care to take a picture of their ice cream? But, like, two, the ice cream truck could just, you know, be on their street, and then they could take a picture. What if you're on, like, a beach or something? You know, this is the 2000s. You know, these popsicles already started being, like, faded out. These were more early 2000s, so this was when, you know, everybody was already having a cell phone, kind of more on the late 2000s, you know? At least kids, you know, like, you wouldn't find, like, a 12-year-old in 2002 with a cell phone. I mean, maybe. But, again, there's just not much documentation of these popsicles out there. This Bart Simpson popsicle is really funny to me because Bart has a pretty simplistic design and there's a lot of thin line art on him. I guess they really could have just done the tiniest black line for his nose. So it's all kind of like as one, you know. The popsicle it's not bad, I guess. You know, like all the pupils and the eyes and everything, they're positioned right. It looks good, it's just, man, that nose just kind of blends in with the rest of his head. Apparently, there was also a Sour Patch Kids mascot popsicle. It's kind of similar to the Warheads thing, although I don't really think it works as well in this scenario. It's not like they haven't introduced any new character popsicles, you know, not just keep old ones, like the Ninja Turtles one, the SpongeBob one, Bugs Bunny one. You know, I think they had like a Beast Boy one kind of recently, you know, at least some reason. I don't think it's still being sold, but it's specifically based on Teen Titans Go, and that didn't start to, like, what, 2013, so, you know, at least past, like, 10 years. There's also an Angry Birds one, so, you know, obviously that one's somewhere recently. You know, Angry Birds, owned by Sega, you know, he's canonically Sonic's best friend. Just like how Crash Bandicoot's best friend is the Noid, and how Mario's best friend is a rabbit, but also that's Rayman's best friend, too. They also apparently at some point had Mega Man toys at Jollibee, so Mega Man is canonically friends with, you know, the Jollibee. Anyways, yeah, there's out, you know, Mega Man popsicle, although, you know, fan versions have been made, which also, that gets to the big point, too. Fan-made popsicles. You see tons of things, like, online, of, you know, these character fan-made popsicles. Of course, I haven't seen these in a while, because, again, my computer exploded, and I'm homeless, so I have no exposure to the world literally at all now. So, yeah, I'm just spurting this all off of memory. From what I remember, there's a Mega Man popsicle, and probably a popsicle of Ronald Reagan, if I were to guess. He seems like a very popsicle face guy. You might be thinking, There's no way there's a Jim Carrey popsicle. Well, technically, there sort of is. There's a Mask themed, popsicle. Although I'm pretty sure this is themed after the Mask cartoon. I would have to assume because all of these are, somewhat related, to kids, pretty much. None of these are adult properties. I guess The Simpsons is the closest thing you could count to that. Obviously something like Batman has more like adult stuff. But like, Batman also has more kid stuff. The Simpsons is pretty much just the show, and I guess The Simpsons movie. So, that's pretty much all adult stuff. But yeah, this is probably definitely not themed after The Mask movie, which, definitely not a movie for kids. Based on the animation craziness of it, I guarantee you a lot of kids did go see it when it came out. Which that movie is 30 years old now, so happy 30th anniversary to The Mask. A very good movie. I like the movie a lot. Anyways, yeah, it's themed after the cartoon show, not the movie. There's a Mike Wazowski popsicle, which kind of makes sense. It's not the craziest design, although this popsicle is kind of creepy. I don't like how he's looking at me, There's a Bratz popsicle. There's also a Minion popsicle, and those are also in stores too. I'm pretty sure they're on ice cream trucks as well, but I know I've definitely seen them in the grocery store before. From what I remember, though, there's not a direct Mickey Mouse popsicle. There have been ones in the past, like this one, which is super weird. Like, why on his, like, it looks like he's wearing a Mickey Mouse hat from Disney World. But there's other ones, too, where it's just the base shape of Mickey Mouse, on a popsicle. But there's never been an exact, like, Mickey Mouse popsicle. Gumball has an ice cream truck before. It's just never really been, like, an actual thing. Surprised there was never a Kirby popsicle. He's a pretty cute design, also pretty simple design. Although if they made him, they'd have to put, like, his arms at least, or his feet, because he would just look stupid without him. Now, if you're wondering if any, like, really new popsicles have come out, let's talk about some new ones, like the Beast Boy one and stuff like that. Like, if you want one that came out, like, this year, well, there's a Kung Fu Panda one for Kung Fu Panda 4, a new popsicle that just came out, so it's really cool to see new ones keep being made, especially of Po from Kung Fu Panda, not the most popular franchise, not that it's unpopular, but I mean, like, Spider-Man, SpongeBob, and the Minions are, like, some of the highest grossing franchises, like, probably, like, top 10 or top 20. And Kung Fu Panda, super big series, but again, I don't think it's as big as SpongeBob. Although at the same time, I think they still have the Bubbles popsicle, like from Powerpuff Girls, and that's definitely not as popular. Honestly, it's probably the least popular popsicle of a franchise that's, still, like the one they keep that's themed after a specific franchise. And that's pretty much all of the interesting popsicles. It was really fun, kind of looking back on all of these crazy and wild character popsicles that have been made. Again, I've talked about the SpongeBob and Sonic popsicles, but to really go into, like, every single other one, it was really fun. Some of these, again, are really weird. There's a NASCAR car popsicle. It might not seem that weird, just a car popsicle, but it's specifically being NASCAR. I don't know. It's the funniest thing ever to me. But yes, that's pretty much all of the popsicles I really wanted to, look back on. Again, I'm glad new ones keep being made, like that Kung Fu Panda one. So, obviously the legacy hasn't, completely died, especially like for new popsicles. Again, so the SpongeBob Ninja Turtles one, those have been out for a really long time. I think the Ninja Turtles one has been out for like over 30 years now, so, that's crazy. But, again, I'm glad there's new ones being introduced. And again, a lot of these are super interesting. I'm super surprised a lot of these franchises got to have the ice cream bar while they had the chance. Again, Kim Possible ice cream bar, The Mask. That's just interesting. And again, you never really see anything like this as much now. So even though I never got to try them ever, I'm glad other people did. And their legacy can still live on. It's not like there's no documentation of these. There's still stuff like the truck sticker. Even though there's not actual pictures of the bar, there's stuff like the truck sticker. So even though they probably all looked a little wonkier than the actual, truck sticker did, I'm glad we still get to, at least somewhat see these. And again, I'm glad other people got to try them. Even if I didn't, I'm glad, other people, got to enjoy the NASCAR popsicle. I guess what I found. So, as I'm just, camping out here, I found something probably lost, I found a beanie. Really important when it's summer of Florida. I have a beanie now, so there's that. How do I look a lot cooler? Not to brag. I am pretty cool. I guess. Didn't know. So there's a bunch of character popsicles. Pretty cool and all. You know, all of them with gumball eyes, except for the SpongeBob one, which doesn't anymore. So, yeah. But man, I love characters, man. Like, no other time would you be able to eat the Pink Panther. I kind of feel like a little hair growing on me, honestly. Kind of interesting. I'll fall asleep if I can. You know, who knows? Maybe the beanie is the ultimate sleep tool. I haven't been able to sleep as well since I don't have my desk, which I normally sleep in. So, hope for the best. Maybe I can do that. Maybe that helps, right? Maybe that'll help me fall asleep, right? Yeah.